Hello, it is Thursday. I'm actually recording this on the day it's Thursday, so Pokemon Go time. What we're doing today is Go Battle League in the Ultra League because that is the current league that is available on Go Battle League. I'll try not to bother you, she says. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of team composition, the what and the why, and then you're gonna see some battles. So let's do that.
Hey there, it's Grixon, doing all kinds of things. Hey there, it's Grix at school, playing all kinds of games. Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, come on down for all kinds of wild things.
Alrighty, so this is the team that I am piloting today. I've been playing it for the last little while, and honestly, I've been doing pretty poorly with Ultra League. I'm still kind of getting into the rhythm of using new Pokemon and into the rhythm of, I guess, damage calculation in a larger league where Pokemon are higher level. So they're hitting harder, and they're also able to take more damage because they're at a higher level. So there's a whole bunch of adjustment that you have to do in terms of what you're used to, um, like how much X does to what, whatever. So this is the team I've been playing. I am leading with Toxicroak, who is rocking Counter, Mud Bomb, Sludge Bomb. And then my backups are Venusaur with Vine Whip, what's it called, Frenzy Plant, and again another Sludge Bomb. And then in the bottom I have Giratina, who is using Dragon Breath, Shadow Sneak, and Ancient Power. And I know some people are liking Shadow Claw and Dragon Claw versus Ghost Fast, Dragon Charge, but I have flipped it. I'm going Dragon Charge, Ghost or Dragon Fast Ghost Charge move. I've flipped it around and I'm actually liking it a lot. I'm also very, very short on fast TMs, so I don't want to just throw them away willy-nilly, so I'm kind of just playing with what I have. I don't really have too much for Ultra League, and I want to save my resources for Master, because that's what I'm truly excited about. Anyway, Toxicroak, he is there to handle things like Registeel, and I know it's a fighting type, but it's also a poison type, so it's not quite taking damage as hard from the fairies, and it's got the Sludge Bomb to deal with the fairies and countercharges that pretty quickly. Sludge Bomb is also going to deal with things like Meganium, so that's the logic behind Toxicroak. It's also level 40, which is great because it's at its maximum potential. Unfortunately, I don't have a hundo. I'm using a rank 39. But the success of this team is demonstrating that maybe rank isn't everything. However, you should still seek for good rank. And then moving right along to Venusaur, who you will see is rank 1161. Venusaur is there to handle Swampert because Swampert is friggin' everywhere. It's also got a poison charge move to help deal with fairies because Togekiss is a huge problem. Unfortunately, Togekiss is fairy flying, so it's going to resist the grass, and it's also going to resist the counter from the Toxicroak, but it's okay, the energy generation is there, and they've got that Sludge Bomb that hits pretty hard on the fairy types. And then, of course, in the bottom, Giratina kind of justifies my double fairy coping mechanisms because Giratina dies to fairy, and Giratinas are everywhere, therefore fairies are also pretty prevalent. So that's why I've double packed on the poison moves. And Giratina is Giratina. There's not much really to be said about that. It hits hard, it takes damage very, very well, and it gets to the charge moves relatively quickly, probably faster with Shadow Claw, but I'm really liking Dragon Breath. So Dragon Breath, it shall be, for now at least. So I just want to say real quick, yesterday I pulled off a 5-0 with this team right before work, and I was not recording, and I'm very upset about this. But today, I'm bringing the same team, and I'm trying to replicate those results. So let's get into the games. Alrighty, so here we have game 1 against Snipolensis is this person's name. So we will battle now with Snipolensis in the Ultra League, leading with Toxicroak into a shiny Scizor. And I was so happy to see not only Scizor, but the shiny version, because that's cool. So the plan here is just swing with counters, and either the Scizor will die eventually, I'll probably use charge moves if I need to, or they'll switch out. So for now, I'm just farming up that energy until they switch. They have switched, so they brought in Giratina, so I'm going to bring in my own Giratina, and we're going to have some Tina time. I have decided to let in the Dragon Claw. It doesn't deal a crazy amount of damage. It is super effective, yes, but not a crazy amount of damage. And what I'm doing here is I am going for the Ancient Powers, because I suspect that they're just going to shield every time, so I might as well go for the boost. So I'm going for the boost with Ancient Power, A boosted Dragon Breath is pretty solid, so that's really the plan there. And you can see I am winning this matchup just by a shred. So I'm going for that final Ancient Power to either smoke out their Giratina for goodsies or take a shield. I did not kill it with the Ancient Power, but I did get the boost, even though I only have 1 HP left. Therefore, my Dragon Breath was enough to finish the Giratina. They send out Heatran, which is neat, but I have a Toxicroak that is just full of energy. So I bring the Toxicroak back in, fire off a Mud Bomb, taking out their last shield, and I have enough energy left to do 1 counter, and then just get the second Mud Bomb, fire that off, get Excellent, and the Heatran is now at 1 HP, so 1 counter can just finish it off. And their third Pokemon is the Scizor that is already half dead. So I just shield this this charge move, and then I know I can pretty much counter it down and get to that Mud Bomb ASAP and Mud Bomb for the win. So that is game 1. GG. Thank you for playing. If you recognize yourself in the video, feel free to comment or something and say, hey, that was me. And thank you for the game. And let's move on to game 2 and see how that one goes. So here we are in game 2. We are playing against Railing17, and we will see how this one goes. Again, leading with Toxicroak, of course. The team will just be the same every time. So Toxicroak into Charizard. This is a bit unfortunate. The flying typing takes away some of my counter damage. So what I'm going to do here is farm up just a wee bit, let them get to their charge move. Now, I'm expecting Blast Burn here, so I don't shield, but it is a Dragon Claw. But like I said, Dragon Claw doesn't hit crazy hard. So they send out Alolan Sandslash, which is super bad for me. So what I'm going for here is the boost. Ancient Power, try to get a boost. That is the plan. And I don't get the boost. Oh, no, I did. Sorry, I misread. I do get the boost. So that's 2 games in a row where I got that 10% boost. Pretty crazy. You know, don't count on that happening all the time because it's just not going to. So I get really greedy here. Because I got the boost, I'm like, I'm going to shield all the charge moves so my Giratina stays in forever and wins the game for me. But, A-Slash charges so quickly and the charge moves themselves charge so quickly that I'm just going to take Ice Punches all day. I do survive an Ice Punch, which is good, and I get off another Ancient Power. And that does clear the A-Slash, which is very, very good for me. And in comes Togekiss. And this is a really awkward situation because I have no shields and they have 2. So I fire off Frenzy Plant into the Charizard. I used Frenzy Plant over Sludge Bomb because Frenzy Plant's a little bit less energy, so I wanted to have some left in the bank so I could get to another charge move quicker. And in comes Dragon Claw at my Venusaur instead of Blast Burn. I guess they didn't think they could get to the Blast Burn. So I'm firing off the Sludge Bomb, which pretty much almost kills the Charizard. I'm assuming they expected Frenzy Plant, so they didn't shield. Therefore, I was able to get a Sludge Bomb into Charizard. So I send out my Giratina, who has a shred of health left, to try to finish off this Charizard. But there's the Dragon Claw, and there's the dead Giratina. But Charizard has such a small amount of health left that I can send in Toxicroak to finish it off. Now I'm firing a Mud Bomb because I want to bait that shield. I'm assuming they suspect the Sludge Bomb, so they obviously shield it. And then in comes their charge move, which is Ancient Power, so not very effective. It only takes off half of my remaining HP, which gives me enough HP left over to counter up into a Sludge Bomb, fire off the Sludge Bomb, and clear the Togekiss. And so that's the game, and now we are up 2-0 in the Go Battle League Ultra League. So let's just move on to the next game, see how that one goes. Okay, so here is game 3 against Kamen Rider Kuga. Kamen Rider? Maybe it's like ramen. Kamen. Okay, here we go. Kamen Rider Kuga. Let's go and have a game of Pokemon. I almost said magic. Toxicroak into Cresselia. This is terrible. I take times 2 the damage from Psychic. So I am being greedy. I farm up a wee little bit of energy on the Toxicroak. I like to do that, farm up just a bit, and then switch out so that way when it comes in, it's got an energy advantage. So I send in Giratina. I am dealing I'm dealing neutral damage with the charge move, but my fast move can deal super effective. So I go right for the Shadow Sneak, and it lands, but it doesn't deal a heck of a lot because Cresselia is very thick. So I've already used a shield once on a Moonblast, so I'm actually going to let this one in. No, I'm not. I shield. My bad. So I shield that, and I fire off an Ancient Power just in time for them to swap into something I couldn't see because Giratina is so large. They swap into Registeel, so that's unfortunate. But I know that Giratina can take a solid amount of damage, or a solid amount of hits from a Registeel. So I'm just going to farm up my Giratina until it's safe to switch out, which it is now. and I can send in a loaded up Toxicroak to fire a Mud Bomb at the Registeel, which is of course super effective, in addition to my super effective fast moves of counter. And this is exactly why I brought Toxicroak, because it just hits Registeel so hard and so quickly with those Mud Bombs. And now I got some lag here, and I honestly thought that this was just the end of my game, because Toxicroak was just bouncing for so long. But I land the Mud Bomb, and the Registeel is almost dead, so I'm just going to let this charge move in. It's a Focus Blast, which usually hits pretty hard, but because I'm fighting, it doesn't hit as hard as it could. So Toxicroak hangs on, and in comes Cresselia, and I fire off a Mud Bomb. I expect it to get shielded just because Cresselia is so low, but it doesn't get shielded, and the Cresselia is now so much lower. But this will obviously be the end of my Toxicroak. So in comes a fully loaded Giratina, and the Dragon Breath is actually enough to just clear the Cresselia. And all they have left is Swampert, which is awesome, because after my Giratina, I have a Venusaur. So I really need to just get rid of that shield, or get Swampert low enough that I can just send in the Venusaur and finish it with fast moves, whichever I can do. But they're holding on to that shield, letting my Giratina smack in with a bunch of charge moves. And then I switch into Venusaur just in time for a charge move, and I was hoping it was a Hydro Cannon, but it was an Earthquake, so that brought my Venusaur quite low, but not low enough. They get to their Hydro Cannon before I get to take them out, but Hydro Cannon doesn't quite kill a Venusaur now, does it? So I am able to just farm them down with fast moves, and I don't even break that last shield. So that is how Game 3 goes. Let's get into Game 4. Okay, Game 4 against Kimmy 19861028. So, Lego. Go, Toxicroak. Against a Swampert, a shiny. So that's cool. So what I'm going to do here is farm up a wee bit of energy, and I have been counting the mud shots, and I know that it was Hydro Cannon time, so I brought in Venusaur just in time to take that Hydro Cannon, no problem. They obviously switch out because Swampert versus Venusaur is a very bad thing. I take this charge move because it's a Dragon Claw and I'm a Venusaur. I will tank it because Venusaur. And then I fire off a Frenzy Plant, which is, of course, not very effective, but none of Venusaur's moves are effective against Athena, and I tried to go for the Sludge Bomb there over the Frenzy Plant. That was just foolish. If I had tapped Frenzy Plant, I feel like I would have got it. Oh no, I did get it, and I did tap Frenzy Plant. Well, let's see. Frenzy Plant, again, not very effective, so we're not going to break a shield. Venusaur is switched out into Giratina. I'm thinking I can just farm them down at this point. So I take the shield because I feel like I need the Giratina to win this one. But they switch out their Giratina into a Clefable, and they have 2 shields, so this is really not looking so hot. Now, is it? I fire off the Ancient Power, and it resolves, no boost, of course, there. And they're pretty much going to charm me down, but not before I get to another Ancient Power. Huzzah! And that one is shielded, so I've taken down one of their 2 shields, but my Giratina's dead. My Venusaur has like an itty-bitty sliver of HP, so I send it out to that's where I tried to go for Sludge Bomb. I could have just tapped Frenzy Plant and fired a Frenzy Plant, but I got greedy, went for I went for the Sludge Bomb. And now a Psychic on a Toxicroak that is doubly effective. So Kimmy has crushed me. Unbreakable indeed. So now let us move to Game 5. Okay, this is Game 5, the final game in the set, and we are against KO 10930, or maybe it's Co 10930. But either way, we are against a fellow with letters in their name, numbers in their name. Go, Toxicroak versus Poliwrath. So we're both fighting, but they're using that mud shot. So they're charging very, very quickly, and they get to their charge move first, which I decide to let in, and it is a dynamic punch. I thought it would be a power-up punch. It hurt a lot more than that. So I switch in the Venusaur, and because of how long they've been firing mud shots, I'm sure they had extra energy, so I'm confident this is an ice punch, and it is. So I shield, the ice punch, and fire a Frenzy Plant into a Meganium. So because they have switched very efficiently, it looks like someone else is counting moves. So I go for the Sludge Bomb because that's, of course, super effective on the Meganium. And, they shield it naturally, and they have been charging for just ever. So I'm like, this is Earthquake. So I shield, and it is Earthquake. So now I get to a Sludge Bomb before they can get to whatever they're trying to do, and they have no shields left. So Sludge Bomb's going to hit pretty hard. Unfortunately, I only got a Great, so it did not knock out the Meganium. And now my Venusaur is going to take a chunkity chunk of damage, and it is an Earthquake, and look at that damage. That is many damages. So I switch out into Toxicroak, and they bring their Poliwrath back. And I fire off a Mud Bomb into the Poliwrath. I had the energy for Sludge Bomb. I probably should have done that, but I didn't. I went for the Mud Bomb, and now my fully loaded Toxicroak is just gonna die here. Kerplunk. See what happens when you don't do the right charge moves? So I send in the Venusaur, and the fast move is enough to take out the Poliwrath, and they send out Magnezone, and for some reason, I'm like, yeah, Sludge Bomb, this will be good. I should have used Frenzy Plant. You'll see why here, because I do get to the Frenzy Plant, and I do fire it, and it does like a pretty good amount of damage. So if I had done Frenzy Plant that first time instead of Sludge Bomb, things would be a little bit different. The Magnezone would be much, much lower, but it's okay because I have a full Giratina in the back, and their Magnezone's at like 30% HP. So Flash Cannon, it hurt. It did. But, I'm farming them down, and they get to their charge move, and it's a Wild Charge, if I recall correctly. Yes, Wild Charge. It does not knock me out, and then I can just finish the game with Dragon Breath. So there were a couple unfortunate mistakes in that last game, but I still managed to grab it and win. So that is the set. Let's just move on to that little end thing where I, discuss that now. Okay, so those were fun games. I enjoyed them. In that last one, I made a couple mistakes. I fired a Sludge Bomb against a Magnezone when I could have done... Like, I went Sludge Bomb, Frenzy Plant. If I went Frenzy Plant, I would have hit for a lot harder and perhaps won the game a lot faster. So that was a big mistake. And also in that last one, I went for a Mud Bomb with my Toxicroak instead of a Sludge Bomb. If I had gone for the Sludge Bomb, I would have just cleared the... I would have cleared the Poliwrath and then still had a Toxicroak, and then when they send in the Magnezone, Toxicroak versus Magnezone, that's pretty good for the Toxicroak because Magnezone is going to take super effective damage from the counter as well as the Mud Bombs, and like double super effective damage from the Mud Bomb. So that was a big mistake on my part. And not to be rude, but their team on that last one, they had a big weakness to my team. The Toxicroak had super effective on a lot of things as well as the Venusaur. So be careful of your team composition because because it's blind, you don't know what you're up against. So if your team has overlapping weakness, you are going to be in a bit of trouble. And I myself am guilty of this because Toxicroak dies really hard to Psychic and Venusaur dies pretty hard to Psychic. So that's 2 out of 3 dying pretty heavily to Psychic. And because Cresselia is so relevant, that's a bit of a problem for me. And the upcoming Psystrike Armored Mewtwo, that will also give my team a lot of problems. And I can bring in Giratina against some of these things, but Cresselia, the charge moves on Cresselia hit Giratina pretty hard, and Cresselia resists a lot of what Giratina does. So my point is, make sure your team doesn't have too many holes or too large of holes. So I might need to do a bit of revision, but so far this has been working for me, so I'm just going to stick with it for now. Because I went 5-0 yesterday and 4-1 today, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm almost doing better in Ultra than I was in Great. So, but that's just the last 2 days. Before this, I was like 2-3, 1-2, or 1-4, all kinds of bad stuff. So we'll see where it goes. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch and YouTube and all that, the fun stuff. So you can follow and subscribe or whatever. And yeah, thumbs up the video, I suppose. Okay, that's it for me. Yeah, goodbye.